How's it going, everyone? Chris here, and welcome back to another Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC leak discussion video. In today's video, we are actually going to be taking a look at some new information that has recently surfaced by a credible leaker that a lot of people have been sleeping on recently, being Fat Man Oh Nice. So he decided to come forward and talk about a brand new character, and honestly, it's a character that not a lot of people are expecting to be the 5th DLC fighter, so let's just go ahead and talk about who he is. However, guys, as always, and I cannot stress this enough, just because this information does apparently come from a credible leaker, that does not mean that this leak is going to end up being 100% real, so make sure you guys take this with a grain of salt and realize that I'm talking about this just for fun. Unfortunately, guys, I do not have a link to the original post, as this screenshot was sent in to me by one of my subscribers, so everything that you guys are going to need to see is going to be up on screen. And now, guys, with all of that out of the way, I have to tell you guys where this leak came from. So guys, this leak was sent in to me by one of my subscribers on my Twitter, so if you guys haven't already followed me on Twitter, you can find a link to it as well as links to all of my social media presences, such as my Twitch and Patreon, in the description right down below, as well as the pinned comment. And now, guys, with all of that out of the way, like I said, this does come directly from Fat Man Oh Nice, who posted over on Smashboards, and once again, lots of people think that this guy is a credible leaker, so we're just gonna go ahead and see what he has to say. So let's jump into it, shall we? So guys, like I said, all this information comes directly from Fat Man Oh Nice, who posted over on Smashboards in response to a question. So the question that he was asked was, are you really that sure that Nightmare is fighter number 5? Do you simply want Nightmare to be 5, or do you have any other evidence to suggest that? Honest question. Also, when exactly are the Video Game Awards again? And he says, I've made a lot of posts about Nightmare in the past couple of days. I have virtually no attachment to the character, and the last time I played a Soul Calibur game was probably 2004. Logically, I think it makes a ton of sense. As for Vergeben, technically he hasn't gotten anything right about Smash since last August. He's had a horrible year altogether, has fallen for not one, but 2 major cases of leak bait, used to regularly beg Sabi to let him talk to the Nintendo of America source because he was regularly without good leads for Nintendo stuff, and has been hemorrhaging reliable sources since February because of Star Fox Grand Prix. So yeah, guys, according to Fat Man Oh Nice, apparently the next character that we are going to be getting in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is actually going to be a character that comes from Soul Calibur, and honestly, I'm not too sure how I feel about this. So guys, before we go ahead and talk about the possibility of a new character from Soul Calibur being Nightmare joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it is important to go ahead and talk about the current deconfirmed list for Fighter Pack number 5. So as you guys can see on screen right now, these are all the characters and companies that are now deconfirmed. So included on this list are Crash Bandicoot, Doomslayer from Doom, Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden, Tracer from Overwatch, Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, Dante from Devil May Cry, Gino from Super Mario RPG, any Resident Evil character, any character from Ubisoft, any character from Falcom, any character from Nippon Ichi Software, any Tales of character, and also, guys, a couple other things that are deconfirmed are Bandai Namco getting a new character, as well as Level 5. Also, guys, Gordon Freeman from the Half-Life series has also been deconfirmed at this point, so yeah, to say that there are a bunch of characters that are deconfirmed at this point is definitely an understatement. Now, one of the things that I wanted to go ahead and talk about in terms of us getting a character from Soul Calibur, specifically being Nightmare, is that for those of you guys who weren't already aware, the company that actually developed Soul Calibur is Namco, aka Bandai Namco, and as we're all already aware, yeah, Bandai Namco is currently deconfirmed to be getting a fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, at least as the 5th DLC fighter. So right away, I understand that there are a lot of people out there that take everything that Sabi says like, and that's like the gospel. This is exactly like what is going to end up happening. However, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these did end up being wrong, and if one of them were, I could see a Bandai Namco character getting that last spot. I mean, obviously, guys, for those of you who weren't already aware, Bandai Namco are actually the people that are developing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and although I don't think that Sakurai is going to give them like special treatment because of it, he is at least aware of all of those characters, and Soul Calibur overall is a very influential and very iconic game franchise. Now, I understand that yes, Sakurai has said before that it's more important that a character is fun than recognizable. However, guys, it doesn't hurt to be both, and considering that once again, Soul Calibur is a game that a lot of us grew up playing, it would be a perfect little nostalgia character to throw in. So guys, I'm gonna be honest, just like Fatman O'Nice, I have not played a Soul Calibur game since Link appeared in the GameCube version of it, so yeah. I don't really know all that much about Nightmare, so to help me figure out who this character is, I found a post over on Smashboards, which if you guys want to read through, go ahead and find a link to it in the description. So who is Nightmare? Nightmare is the most iconic character in the Soul Calibur series, published by Bandai Namco. He first appeared in Soul Edge in 1995 as the human Siegfried, and then continued to be an iconic and very important character of the franchise ever since. He dons the cursed sword Soul Edge, which is the main objective of most of the characters in the series, and has become the embodiment of the weapon itself. You can read more about the character's information here. So why Nightmare? Now you might be saying, okay, this guy is super cool, but why should he be in Smash Bros? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here are a few points I'd like to make. 1. Arguably the most important thing to look at while talking about potential fighters is what they would represent. As a third-party rep from Bandai Namco, he'd bring in a more mature and extreme counterpart to their other representative being Pac-Man. It's also important to note that Bandai Namco is co-publishing Smash Ultimate and probably wouldn't mind including a few more of their own characters in the series. Number 2. Another thing to look at is the genre of games the third-party characters represent. In this regard, it's clear to see that we currently don't have any representation for the 3D fighter genre in Smash Bros. Soul Calibur is one of the most popular series when it comes to the genre besides Tekken, and this does bring up the argument of Heihachi versus Nightmare for this representation of 3D fighters. I personally believe Nightmare would bring along a much more creative moveset to the table rather than Heihachi. Number 3. Soul Calibur and Nintendo have always had a pretty solid relationship as well. Link appeared as a fighter in Soul Calibur 2, so this type of crossover isn't impossible by any means. Like I briefly mentioned, Nightmare's moveset would be incredible. He has so much source material to work with that the developers would have a field day developing his abilities. Having a great moveset is a huge pull when deciding characters. And finally, one last point to add in his favor is that he's a villain. Smash is in need of more villains, and adding a third-party villain would be a pretty exciting situation. Now guys, there is some more information regarding his moveset and music and stage and everything else like that, but we're not going to go over that in this video, so if you guys want to go ahead and read it for yourselves, once again you can find a link to this post in the description bar. So now let's go ahead and talk about the arguments against Nightmare. Now the lame part. I do recognize a few issues that contradict the inclusion of Nightmare in Smash Bros. His violence is a pretty big reason to put against him. He is incredibly evil behavior, and the game origin he comes from is consistently violent. The whole shtick to his character is hitting opponents with a massive sword, and he doesn't pull any punches. Of course, we do have other violent characters, but I'm not sure if they come close to the intensity of Nightmare. He's also not the most popular character out there. He definitely isn't a nobody, but compared to other third-party options like Crash, Banjo, and Rayman, he doesn't really stack up head to head. Heihachi could be considered over him as well. Another Bandai Namco rep that comes from a 3D fighting game that also happens to be more popular. Really, the only thing Nightmare has over him is the uniqueness of the character. Who knows, maybe that goes a long way. So yeah guys, with all of that being said, there is definitely a lot to take in and think about when it comes to Nightmare. However, after reading over all this, a lot of the arguments against Nightmare, Nightmare can get around those 100%. Like Sakurai said, it's more important that a character is fun to play than iconic, so yeah, I mean, according to this guy, he would have a much more unique moveset than Heihachi, and once again, Soul Calibur is a very iconic game, so maybe Nightmare does have a chance. However guys, with all of that being said, do I believe that Nightmare is going to be joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as the 5th and final DLC fighter? Honestly guys, probably not. Not only has Sabi and Vergaben come forward and said that Bandai Namco is not getting a character, but also guys, you have to remember that, yeah, it is important for a character to be fun, but honestly, it's also important for a character to be recognizable, and although once again, Nightmare is the face of Soul Calibur and everything else like that, he just doesn't really seem like a Game Awards reveal to me, you know what I mean? Like, I could see a big name character like Sora or Rayman joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as the 5th fighter being announced at the Game Awards right after Super Smash Bros. Ultimate wins, but yeah, honestly, he doesn't seem like a final character to me. He could definitely join a little bit later, but I just can't see him joining right now. However, guys, with all of that being said, make sure you guys let me know your thoughts about this leak in the comments section down below. Do you guys believe that Nightmare from Soul Calibur is going to be joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, or do you guys think that we're going to get some other character that nobody is expecting? Why or why not? Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, share, and like, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.